Now that we have our user interface ready, let's focus on the Borrowmatic data model, selecting the data model in our document structure. And this template we used automatically created one entity for us, which is called event. We're quickly removing it by selecting it and then hitting the backspace key. And then we can create our two new entities. So I'm pressing my add entity button 2 times. And my first entity is going to be the borrow item. And the second entity is going to be the person that we are going to add, or the persons that we are going to add to the database. And the borrow item is going to get several attributes. Let's start with the title, which is going to be a string. Then we will have a start date for the duration that we want to borrow an item to a person. This is going to be a date. Then we're going to have an end date. And also this is going to be a date. And we're going to have an image that we're directly storing in CoreData because we're going to make it pretty small. If we're using larger items, larger images, then we should save them to the hard disk of the iPhone and then only save the link or the URL to this file. So here we're selecting binary data, and for the person, we're going to add 2 attributes. First of all, a name, which is a string, and another image, which is again a binary data type. And then we are going to add a relationship between those 2 entities, and in this case we're having a one-to-many relationship originating from the person, because one person can borrow multiple items or borrow items from you. So here we add another relationship, calling it borrow item. The destination is the borrow item, and we make sure to select the type to many. And then we go into our borrow item entity, add another relationship, this time calling it person, with the destination person and the inverse borrow item. And then for our person, the inverse is automatically created. And if we build that, Xcode automatically creates the required classes for us. Let's just see what error we get here. And it says here that a command failed, and if this happens to you, simply use product and clean to clean your project and also stop it. And then if we build that again, the error should go away, leaving us with 7 new issues that come from the fact that we deleted the event entity and thereby also deleted the event class. So let's have a look at one of those problems here. For example, in the detail view controller, we have a detail item automatically generated by Xcode that is of type event. We are going to replace that with a borrow item. Then we also have to remove some of the code here in configure view. We might reuse some of these features later, and then we build again, and still having 7 issues. And here again, these issues come from the master view controller, and here we simply add comments around everything, starting from the insert new object to the end, so that we can reuse some of the code that was written for us here. So let's build that one more time, and then we have only one problem left. And here this has something to do with view.load. Here again, we simply remove all of the code here in view.load because we are going to implement something different later. And then once we build that again, we should be good to go. But let's make one final adjustment to our detail view controller. Since we have defined that as a table view controller, let's also subclass that from UI table view controller and add that as a custom class in our storyboard. So selecting the table view controller here, our detail view controller, and also add the detail view controller class here again as a custom class. And if we run this now in the simulator, we should have a working application again. And indeed it works. We get our master view controller. We can no longer add new items, but this is something we're going to handle in the next videos.